You have Stamford Street, that's more or less the main thoroughfare in Barrowfeild, you know. And at the Gallowgate end you have what they term themselves as a torch. It's a gang, yeah. And at the bottom end, it's the spur, you call them. And on occasion you get these two, which is only natural as gangs have done through the years. You get them rattling one another. And they'll get them throwing missiles, cans, bottles, what have you, at one another, you know. Well, our house is more or less in no man's land, you know. We're sort of, you know, we were in between it, you know. Not just our house, but other houses, you know, other closes. I went out when they've been doing it, and they haven't bothered me. I mean, this is a personal vendetta between the bottom of the street and the top of the street. Unless either end know you are a member of either faction. Nine times out of 10 they don't bother with you, because I've went to the shop when I've been doing it. I've just kept close out the road, and I went down and got bread, cigs, whatever, and came back up the road again.
You just dodged the bricks?
Yeah. I know it's ludicrous to say this, but sometimes it can be funny, you know, you stand and you watch them squealing and bawling at one another, you know. And it can be quite funny at times, as long as nothing untoward has really happened, you know.
Anywhere, just anywhere. I don't know. Well, right, this is the tap end, right, this is the torch end, right, this is the mob that all rule and all that, right. Down here, that's all the mob, but they all run away and all that, and we go down.
Come up, well, they're game when they come up when we're all waiting. But see, like, say when we're all waiting, they all scamper like wee rats going in holes.
A mile to the east of Glasgow city centre, behind the stands of Celtic football ground, is Barrowfeild, the hardest place to live in a hard city. It's one of the roughest housing schemes in Britain. At first, the police insisted we had their protection to film here. Later, we moved more freely into the Barrowfeild triangle and didn't disappear without trace. But among the 600 or so families here is concentrated a sullen, futile mixture of crime and unemployment, single-parent poverty, and a daily fear of vandalism and violence. A council housing points allocation system distills the problem, protects the better estates, diverts the trouble to Barrowfeild. All this was modernised 6 years ago. Already much of it has been destroyed, houses pulled to pieces by their own tenants, burnt, broken and daubed in a continuing tantrum of frustration. Now there's to be a new council initiative. The social workers and officers of Bill Nicholls' housing department are setting up office here, running the gauntlet back into Barrowfeild.
About 3 weeks ago, you know, the place was unrecognisable. It had been severely vandalised, including a reasonable fire in the close. Taking the combination locked doors off now, we've got the security man keeping the front door, steel door on, but we're taking these off. The damage to Anwar's shop when they tried to break in, got that re-concreted up.
That's how they got in it?
That's how they got in through the close. Great job, eh? Go up to the gate here. This is the security gate that protects the upper flats. Keep it locked. Right, some guys jammed their way through here when they were breaking into Anwar's shop. Yeah.
You through there?
Yeah, that's a wee guy, isn't it? Yeah.
Not alarmed?
Right, the lock's alarmed, but the bars aren't. So they trip, you know, they push the bars open and then they trip the alarm. Ingenious. And we are now looking at more, you know, on-site security, and from tonight we'll have a security guard placed here, you know, almost every night, you know, and perhaps more than that if necessary. department office, located here. This I think we'll probably use as one of the main office spaces, or maybe a reception area. You know, once it's completed, carpeted. Still a bit of work to do here, you know.
What's going to happen with the windows?
Right, we've got the mesh light window still on, and security door for the veranda. Those will come off until we're ready to move in. A local shop downstairs has been repeatedly attacked, and most recent occasion has been when they managed to chisel their way right through the party wall between the close and the shop and get in.
And how many people will be employed here altogether?
Now, this is, at the moment, a bit of an open book. I think the main person who needs to be employed in the short term, and obviously this is what we're targeting at the moment, is the initiative coordinator, who will be a senior member of staff who will be there to develop the initiative project. Social work department have 2 community development officers located in this area. They'll be there. The housing staff, who at the moment there's 2 housing assistants and a senior housing assistant, they'll be located here. And the big step forward and the big increase in staff will come from the estate supervisors. This is a scheme which falls somewhere between parks and cleansing. It's going to include about 15 people doing estate clean-up jobs, that kind of thing.
And that's just for Barrowfeild?
That's just for Barrowfeild.
But among all the accepted social problems, the clichés of the inner city, there's a dimension of Barrowfeild peculiar to Glasgow. 2 or 3 times a week, families watch from their windows as the Torch and the Spur, successors to the razor gangs of the 60s, turn Stamford Street into what the Scottish papers have billed as Nightmare Alley.
Well, the reason this is called Nightmare Alley, because going back about 3-4 years ago, this mob down there called the Spur would come up, right? We were just hitting the hatches and all that. So it was that bad, reading for the Times and the Police, just put in the Monday morning in the Times and the Record, it was, in the Times it was called Mini Chicago, and in a Record it was called Nightmare Alley. So that is why us Torch boys are called the Nightmare Alley.
You say you use hatchets?
Swords,
What kind of swords?
and you've been in a butcher's, getting upon a mince. Well, you walk out and you blag them. And that's that. Put them down your, you go like that, put them down your juke, put it in, and that's that. You got to read in and do the milky. That's it, man.
But you don't use fists?
That's on them. Sick fuck. You don't go to the guys, man. It's a bruise. A bruise goes away. You go like that, man. That's that. That's it. Finished. Scars, man.
So when you're fighting, you're bound to get scars?
That's you on the tie. That's you promoted.
Are you proud of the scars you get?
Oh, you don't come proud of that. No, I don't. Well, we've not had much. It's, see, if you had to strip them, no, strip that mob down there.
See, scars are bloodies.
That's like a map of Scotland.
What's wrong with this scheme?
It's not a scheme, it's the boys that all fight. That's what it is. Oh, you shut up, that's just all she thinks about it. Saturday night, that's the best, isn't it? You're windy.
Would you go out with a lad who fought in Stamford Street?
No, I wouldn't.
Why not?
Because if you went anywhere, they would end up by doing it, and you would end up winning, you know.
You would,
fight with everybody.
You would end up getting into the fight as well?
Aye, because if you were out with somebody and they get a doing, you would get into an wouldn't you?
If they were done over, you would get done over too?
Shut up, dude.
So which part of the street are you from? Are you from Spurland or from Torchland?
Spur.
Is the Spur the best?
No, none of the best. You need to look round for. None of the best.
But most of the Torch and the Spur will end up in the hands of the law, probably on the road to prison. The front line of the intensive policing of Barrowfeild is Kenny Ross, one-time shot-put champion. He's now the scheme's community bobby.
75% of the folk in this scheme are law-abiding, good-living, salt-of-the-earth folk. That would be my estimation. It's just a small minority that's giving us all the trouble. But if we get rid of them, it'd be a pleasure to walk about here.
It's a Morris Marina yellow colour, not listed as stolen. Keepers are Marion McMahon.
I have asked them from the top end of the street, I've asked them from the bottom end of the street, and I'm still waiting for a suitable explanation why they fight with each other. They don't like to see each other get into jail, but they can't give me a good reason why they want to fight with each other. They go to the same schools, and then at night they come out and start chasing each other. They'll puff out their puny chests. I think they're a big man.
What are you hanging about here for? You live here, but you don't. You get on with your own house. Beat it. Come. Good. Move.
If you show fear, you can chuck it. You have always got to have that appearance that you're capable of doing the job. You must never show fear. You can hang up your uniform if you show fear. It would just trample you into the ground.
Shut your mouth.
I never lose respect for parents of kids who go astray.
Morning. Lovely day. How you doing? What's your name?
Charles.
Charles.
They're easily led. You'll get somebody who's a leader and they just follow on.
Charles Broughton still got your vehicle?
1, 2, 3. Miss Polly had a dolly who was sick. So she phoned for the doctor to come quick. The doctor came with his bag and his hat, and he knocked on the door with a rat-tat-tat. He looked at the dolly and he shook his head, and he said, Miss Polly with a string to his head. He wrote on a paper for a pill. I'll be back in the morning with my pill.
There's an inevitable loss of innocence in Barrowfeild. Kids ground into the mould as soon as they can walk. Families without the chance, some without the will, to break the vicious circle. The standards of the Barrowfeild clan are different. You can't apply the criteria of affluent West End Glasgow that lies just across the high street. Because with all the social welfare in the world, these are the people of the shanty town outside the gates. They've been put in their place, and now they run it to their own rules.
The kids, you know, they don't have a trust in you like the elderly folk have. They've got trust and respect. It stems from if they won't go to school, if they won't even hurry up behind their mothers, it's always, hurry up or I'll get the policeman to you. So they're brought up to be frightened of the police, which I think is wrong. So if they don't eat a supper or go to bed, I'll get Kenny Ross to you. Well, that's maybe one person's opinion of me. There would be hundreds who would like to write something good about me in the world, but they just don't do it.
But it's not exactly Dixon and Dock Green community policing, is it?
No, it's certainly not that.
There must be a temptation not to contact the police, to try and sort it out yourself on an estate like this.
We get calls. Well, we used to get a lot of calls for, you know, if a person's injured, but they would never tell you who'd done the injury.
You just find somebody injured lying in the clothes?
Somebody injured and nobody's seen anything happen.
Does that happen with the vandalism and the robbery here as well? People turn a blind eye and they...
No, we get quite a lot of information regarding the muggings and the vandalism. Quite a lot of information regarding that.
But generally anonymous information?
Anonymous, it has to be.
Is that because if people were found to be telling the police?
Their life would be a hell.
It's normal in Barrowfeild. As ordinary as the show of wedding presents beginning down Stamford Street. A Glasgow hen party for Colleen Dunbar.
Hiya. Hi, Lena. Hiya. Good to see you. Just get out in the living room. Just now. What room is it? In that room there, right in there.
And here, and here.
It's as normal as Colleen and her fiancé Michael, both being out of work.
I mean, it's only how many days now? It's 3, 4 days till you get married. Are you nervous about getting married?
I'm alright.
Yeah?
I wasn't nervous at first. I wasn't bothering me at first, but see this week, it's terrible.
Are you nervous about it?
No, not bother.
Michael doesn't bother.
Have you planned out what you're going to do? Are you going to? Do you know when you're going to have kids, for example?
I'm not having kids for ages.
What do you mean ages?
But 2 years anyway. 2 to 3 years till we get my house fixed up anyway.
Does it ever bother you that you won't have enough money to get by on, or?
I don't know. Me, yeah, it does bother us in a way, but if I get a job, I think it'd be all right. But really need a good job, no?
But are you applying for jobs?
I've wrote away for a lot of jobs. But they never get any reply or anything like that, no?
I mean, what's the place like you're going to move into?
It's nice and quiet.
The area's got a wee name for itself, but we've had weird got
Street's lovely, we're in
lovely,
Scotland.
quiet now, but it was about a Saturday and I thought it was a Sunday, and we only went about renting.
But your mum was saying that you would actually like to have stayed here in Barrowfeild.
I like it here because I'm used to it. I know everybody, my pals are here.
No,
I mean, when you're coming back and forward and, you know, going home at night.
Come down at night time and
He said we can do it here with a good drink now at the weekend, and they've all been fighting. He's just walked by, nobody says a word to him.
But would you like to live here?
I think it would take a while to get used to it, no. No, I don't think so. No.
What do you think of the lads who are in the gangs, you know, who go for
I've got a
each
lot of
other?
the boys, and some of the boys are dead nice. I've known them for years. I've been about with a lot of them when I was still at school and all that. And some of the boys are dead nice.
So why did they do that?
I don't know. I think maybe just bored them and all, nothing else to do.
They're just bored.
Aye. See, they're starting at that corner. Nothing else for them here. Nothing else to do.
The street corner, killing time. Ordinary things in Barrowfeild.
I've got to say, Andy, it looks a bit like something out of the Wild West.
Like Andy Cochran, having a hobby.
You're obviously pretty keen on security.
Oh, you've got to be sometimes. Well, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter whether you own a shop or anything else. You still need to be secure-minded.
Sandwiched here between Celtic Park on one side and the Barrowfeild estate on the other, do you not have a lot of trouble from people breaking in and doing damage around here?
It's not an unusual occurrence, right enough.
I'd call this a pigeon loft. What do you call it?
A ducat.
Ducat?
Yeah.
How many birds can you keep in here, then?
Up to about 20.
So is that a locked inner door as well?
Yeah.
Good Lord. You teach Fort Knox a thing or two here. Can I come up?
Yes.
Well, having come to the top of the loft, we're now going back down into the bowels of it.
Yep.
What's the difference between the two sorts of birds here, Andy?
The difference? Well, the ones up the stair, they go out flying. These ones, they stay in here all the time to sit on top of eggs. You know, so that we could breed them.
Have you any young ones here at the moment?
One of the youngest is this one. That's maybe 3 weeks, just over 3 weeks. But that's about all. That is pretty young.
Yeah. Now, what's the object of the sport? I mean, do you race them, for example?
No. No, the object of it is to catch other people's birds. You know, they put them out, and we put one out. And it's more or less just a tackle. They go against each other.
So you let one pigeon off from here, and you hope it nicks somebody else's pigeon and brings it back with it?
Exactly. That's it.
Do you notice that these pigeons have individual characters?
Well, they have. They definitely have, especially ones for flying. There's one up there. when you whistle on them, they're supposed to get up and fly. Well, they're supposed to, as I said. But this one, you've got to talk to it to get it up to fly. You know, it's just a wee quirk I've got, you know. Let's see. Come on. Come It's just running about here, you know, what you call showing. It's blowing its chest up.
The pulse of tradition beats strongly here in the East End, father to son. The boys on the Barrowfeild corners today run the same streets that Jamie Barnes fought over 30 years ago with his fledgling gang.
Young Shanghai. Wasn't really, it became a gang, but basically we started off just as a group of guys that banded together. Because in the days in Bridgeton, when you were a lone fish walking about, you're easy meat. You're always bait, you know. So we just formed a lot of good guys in the gang, but basically we became a gang, you know.
You mean you feel you were pressured into it?
Yeah, they went about with a mob, but you didn't get about at all. Aye. With territorial rights, you know, there's places I couldn't go, and places other mobs couldn't come into us, you know. You were limited. I was tied for about 5 years from Parkhead to Bridgeton Cross. I couldn't get outside that. You know, which kind of stumps your growth a bit. A typical night was hanging about the corner, making a nuisance of ourselves. You know, shouting and bawling and having a carry on. But you can do that when you're a kid. But as you get older, it's no carry on, it's a breach of the peace then. Employment here too, one time we had the gas works.
The gas man used to know a guy.
Oh, Baltic Street was rough, okay. I just kept into my envy scene up until I was about, say, 14-year-old, 13 when I went to my secondary school. And that was the first mob I ever hung about in the school. It was really rough, the school kind of thing, you know. Getting up and down to school was a gauntlet, because you had to pass different schools going up, you know. And they always wanted to attack you. So we formed, it was just the guys in the class that we go in with. You know, we just started going about together. And even at night times, we started going about socially. You couldn't get money for booze during the week, you know, so eventually we took to lifting things. If then on, it was just a downhill struggle. And then we started getting a name as a gang, so other mobs would come into the area and try to take us, and so we would get involved in gang fights then. We were just caught up in a mad rush. Before you know where you're, the slammer's getting ever closer. And I could feel it, man, you know. I says to myself, if I don't get out of this, I'm going to end up in the nick.
You've got young boys, right, unemployed, right? Okay, and this does sound like the social worker bit, right? But you've got young boys who are unemployed with possibly no chance of getting a job, right? The only way they guys are going to achieve anything is by becoming infamous, right? The only way most of these young boys that I'm talking about, right, are going to really hit the headlines is through fame, right?
You join a gang and go out and fight against
Aye, I mean, as I say, like, put it this way, how many really nice quiet boys do you know? You know what I mean? And I mean, how many times you read about a guy doing a good turn in the papers, right? Now, the thing is, right, what these guys is doing is wrong, right? Now, they're no stupid, they know what they're doing is wrong. But nobody's going to stand up. Nobody's going to say it's not a good idea to have a gang fight. But if they have a good look at the whole thing and say, I don't deserve this, my kid doesn't deserve it, right? I mean, even if you don't give a damn about yourself, you've still got wins, right? And I mean, there's no two ways about it. No kid should be reared in a place where chances are, right, that they're going to either end up in a gang or end up in prison.
The rock scene, when it came, was a vehicle for people that, when the band thing sort of came, it got me out of it, and I was really glad. And through the band, I was too busy to start running about with the boys. I could see them maybe now and again, but then eventually just faded away for them. The band is a 5-piece lineup. We call it Cachis because I'm heavily into the North American Indian, Apache in particular. I read Cachis's life story. He was a great man, great leader. He was loyal. Basically, he was just trying to do what we were doing, banding together to survive.
And went away. Tuesday felt bad. In fact, no bad. I think I'll commit sideways. Mother she never told me that heartache follows happiness. Mother she used to scold me for crying on her new dress, for crying on her new dress. And went down, but I tried my newfound freedom at last. I met this lady, thought she was easy to trust, then I had to pass. Mother, why don't you take me? Why don't you take me and hold me to your breast? Mother, why don't you own up? Why don't you own up? You could not care less. Well, you could not care less. I know the rest, you're the best, mother.
The rituals of East End living, handed down too from mother to daughter. Colleen Dunbar, dressed as it would have been done half a century ago.
Oh, you feel really attractive like that, don't you?
No, I'm here.
Who's made all these for you?
That's it. Over here.
That's you. That's a beautiful birthday. Oh, you're lovely.
I'm going to give you a minute.
Right, a kiss, 50 pence, a pound. That's it. Yeah, we kiss you, but a pound or 50 pence, right?
Selling kisses in almost pagan rite. Money collected in a chamber pot lined with salt and baby dolls. After the wedding next week, it'll provide £40 or £50 worth of financial security for Colleen in a new home away from Barrowfeild.
What's the deal?
We heard a bang at the door. We thought it was just somebody kicking the door. You know, carry on. So we went out into the hall. We opened the lounge door and the living room door, and we were just entering the hall when the door was completely kicked in, and here 3 or 4 lads coming up the hall with swords and weapons in their hand.
When you say swords, I mean, you actually mean something as long as a sword?
Yeah.
It was actually a sword. No,
Well,
actually,
the description could give it as the kind of thing that we may have used in the Napoleonic Wars or something. You know, it's more like a sabre. And the lad was coming down the hall with it over his head, double-fisted, you know, two-handed over his head, with a raised high, you know, in a striking motion. Pushed my wife into the living room.
He pushed me into the living room. I shut the living room door. I was right up against the living room door. And I don't know
how they couldn't get in because they were actually kicking at the living room door for to get at me.
They were trying to get at you as well?
Yeah, they were trying to get at me. But unfortunately, I had the strength that night for to keep the door shut.
And after that, things happened too quick. I made a dive for the window, and the chap jumped back out it again. I felt a blow in my back. And when I came out the window, I found this bloody great big wound in my side. Opened up, you know, like a mouth. My upper intestine was protruding from the wound, and they could also see my kidney. And when I seen that, I puckered it up and held it. I closed it with my fist and kept my other hand over it. Physically, I'm healing. The scars will fade, but mentally, it's had a bad effect on me, mentally, because I don't sleep too good at night. It's still foremost in my mind. There's not a day goes by, but you know, it comes back to me in great detail.
The Battle of Barrowfeild, that makes up the constant workload of Terry McEwen's Citizens' Rights Office.
You know, when you had to be moved out because, you know, I started being bad.
People fighting an intractable council point system to get out.
So, since January, you've been seeing a doctor?
Yeah, yeah. I've been on pills constantly for January. In fact, I've just received a second, you know, another lot there, a second medical certificate.
What kind of pills has the doctor been giving you?
I'll put some here to bear in mind, I'll let you see. I've had 3 courses. This is the 3rd course of this. This was sleeping tablets they gave me. I couldn't sleep. And this was another course. So it's actually 5 courses.
Right. You mentioned your son, he's 13. He found a man who'd hanged himself.
Yeah, it was a young chap down the staircase. He'd hanged himself. And he was going down the stair. And the woman happened to come out the door. She's blind. And she said that she thought it was somebody in her cupboard. So she asked him to go in. And the chap was lying there. You know, and this upset him greatly, because we'd sent him away as well, Terry. So we did, and he said treatment for the doctor.
It says here his nightmares, is that because he...
Because of this happening.
Right, OK. Right, go on now. The 1st of January, your house was broken into.
Yeah.
Is this the picture?
That's some of the photographs we were able to take.
Right.
You know, just after the police had been.
I think it's up to us to argue with the district councillor, right, and point out to him that you are a special case, right? And you showed this to the councillor.
Councillor, everybody's seen them.
And what did he think of these?
He thought it was disgusting.
Disgusting, but he still didn't mention special cases. I mean, for years there's been all sorts of trendy community workers and fab ideas coming through Barrowfeild, but that's all they've been. I mean, the amount of nutters that was through the scheme, right, who were there because it was interesting and it was very sort of trendy, right? And basically, I think the bastards were there just to get a reference for their next job. Because if you worked in Barrowfeild, you can work anywhere, sort of thing. And in the 2 year, from August 78 to August 80, there was 274 referrals for homeless persons into the Barrowfeild area. A lot of these people, right, for various different reasons, couldn't cope with Barrowfeild. Barrowfeild was a place that, right, nobody really wanted to stay, right? So what they done was they picked the people who just had, you know, the least clout, which was homeless persons, right?
Good evening. Now, we're ready to start the meeting on the housing allocation system. You should have 2 pieces of paper in front of you. The minutes of the meeting we had last week, or the week before.
There may be new initiatives and a whole calendar of meetings, but even the tenants who go to them know that they and probably their children are in Barrowfeild for life.
I think everybody knows pretty well what the big problems are. We've got a lot of empty houses. The empty houses get vandalised, they get wrecked, they have to be bricked up, it brings the appearance of the place down.
It's a nice room.
You know, I mean, we find it difficult to let houses in the area, especially ground floor houses. And if we try to be more selective, it means the houses will lie empty longer. You know, you can't really have it both ways in a sense. If you go for getting rid of all the empty houses, it means that you take the chance of getting tenants you don't want. If you go for making sure you get the tenants you do want, you get the certainty of a lot more empty houses, or at least the houses lying empty for a lot longer.
You say here that Barrowfeild is an area of low demand and the applicants are willing to take accommodation. Can you tell us just how many people are willing to come into it?
There's a lot more people want to move out than want to move in.
I think a lot of people feel the same, that the point system should never have been brought in to start with.
It doesn't really matter why the housing system was as it was 2 years ago. It doesn't matter what the results of that was, what caused those results 2 years ago. What matters is where we are now and where we can go in the future. I mean, tell me, Terry, tell me in 5 minutes why it matters what the homeless persons unit did 2 years ago.
Why it matters? Because, as I said, I mean, the people are saying, right, that Barrowfeild, you can't build a strong community in a place where people are forced in there when they don't want to go and they don't want to stay there.
But they're not going to be forced in the future. They're not forced in now.
It doesn't matter, they're forced in. I mean, they're there.
Okay.
Put it this way, these people still haven't got enough points to get good houses anywhere.
Well,
so the point system is all geared towards keeping the good areas good and the bad areas bad.
Okay, I'm not here to defend the point system as it stands at the moment. I'm here, if you want to explain it, I'm not here to defend it, that's the play.
Barrowfeild is a good scheme, basically, because there is good people in Barrowfeild, and they're suffering. These poor people can't get out. These are people that have been in the scheme since it was built, and have all that time have lived a respectable, law-abiding life until these zombies come in.
But we went through, I mean, a lot of people say, I know what you're going through. But a lot I says to them, I said, a lot of you don't know what we went through, because you have never experienced it as what we did.
Will you ever go back to Barrowfeild?
No way.
Never.
No.
Excuse me.
I can't even face going back to the house to get my furniture. I can't.
Have you been offered another house?
Yes, Barrowfeild again. Living in fear is an awful bad thing in your mind. You can't sleep, you can't enjoy yourself, you're frightened to open the door, you're frightened in case it happens again, and if it happened again, I don't think I could take it. I took it well because of the kids, but I don't think I could take it the next time if it happened. I don't think I could stand it.
Take me and hold me to your breast. Mother, why don't you own up? Why don't you own up? You could not care less. Well, you could not care less. Like all the rest, mother. Can't you hear me calling? Mother, I'm lost and I'm lonely.
A summer Saturday in Bridgeton, in Glasgow's Protestant homeland. Before this patch of the East End was renovated by the bulldozer, the old Bridgeton was known to those of a different faith as Bitter Orange.
Bridgeton has always been a stronghold of the Orange Order. Indeed, redevelopment in Bridgeton perhaps makes the bridge not seem the stronghold that it was. Yet if one goes to the far ends of the world and meets a Scot from Glasgow, who is perhaps an Orangeman, associated with an Orange family, or came from Bridgeton, he immediately associates Bridgeton with Orangeism. Yes, Bridgeton has been a stronghold of Orangeism for more than a century, and is still in the minds of the Bridgeton people strongly Orange.
And this is a special Saturday. The elite corps of the Orange Order, the men of the Royal Black Institution, are leaving for their annual rally at Ayr. It's the day of the Black Walk.
It's a great honour to be in the Orange Order. It's a greater honour to be the Worshipful District Master of 37 District in Bridgeton. I'm about 5'6". Well, it makes you feel taller. It's a feeling you can't really explain. It's a great feeling to go out in the street and show the people what you really believe in. When we go around that bridge and cross, we think there's millions there. This institution is built on the Bible. The Bible is the truth, and that's what we believe in.
Half a mile away, behind the slum-cleared streets of Park Head, is Celtic, by tradition the Catholic rallying standard of East End Glasgow. They came first from Ireland during the potato famine, will move to the suburbs in successive redevelopments. Many, like Frank Kirk, still come back.
Stick close by, Willie.
From my early stage, I've always supported them. I don't think it mattered to me that much if I stayed 90 miles away. I still think I'd support Celtic. When I was 10 and 11, I sort of seen the light, you know, that they were the best team.
Well, that wee rumour Nicholas was going to Liverpool Everton last season.
When I was brought up a Catholic, I don't know if I had anything to do with it, but certain people think it's religious. Personally, I don't see it that way.
Off you go. Two adults. Two adults. Aye, identical. Let your daft uncle sit down there. He was there, sit beside the new barrel. Oh, that's rotten, right.
It's steeped in tradition, certainly. You know, my father was a Celtic supporter. The only team I've taken my son to see is the Celtic.
Strident chord of the old-time religious and political certainties can still be heard in Glasgow. The passions still sometimes fall back to bigotry. They're wrapped in the old values, and they're stoutly defended by the Secretary of the Orange Order in Scotland, David Bryce.
In a day when people seem to lack firm beliefs and seem to be willing to compromise in so many fundamental things, I can understand some people saying we're extremists, but I don't believe we're extremists, and neither does the general membership of the Orange Order believe that we're extremists. There are many Orange people who have Roman Catholic friends. Many Orange people have Roman Catholic neighbours, and they have harmonious relationships with the Roman Catholic neighbours, the Roman Catholic workmates. No problems.
I think the Celtic team at the moment's got 7 Protestants. It doesn't matter to me. They play for Celtic. It doesn't matter whether Protestant, Hindu, Catholic, Jew, as long as they play for that jersey. You know, that's all that matters to me. Rangers will not sign a Catholic, which to me, personally, long may it continue because they'll never win anything. You can be at times terrified by your own support. You always get the pamphlets on both sides, either Catholic or Protestant, that shout about religion, the Pope, and shout about King Willie. Possibly you'll find the bulk of these people have never been in a church since they've been christened. Me, I like to think I've got less bitter. Although that I was, again, a good friend of mine who went to one end, I went to the other. We would possibly shout at each other for 90 minutes, but after that game, it'd be finished, apart from the argy-bargy.
Glasgow's old arguments persist, an attempt by displaced Glaswegians to keep an old identity. Catholic, Protestant, Irishman and Scotsman. They can be heard on different street corners now, on the hills of concrete, away to the south and east. A purpose from the past, still keenly felt by the remnants of communities left in the East End.
It's my life. Bowling is my life. If it wasn't for bowling, I would have been in a pub or something, you know.
There's one thing about it, it's not the same as football matches. You never get a break in here, nor a bottle thrown at you, nor anything like that. Yeah. And when you're on the green, you're exercising all the muscles of your body. And it takes you away from the traffic. Used to play here to about 11 o'clock at night in the dark, lighting matches for to show you the jack and one thing gonna. I don't play at all now, you know. The old legs will not get down to it, you know.
At one time there was about 7 public greens in Bridgeton. At the time of unemployment, public green bowling was very popular. But in the last 20 years, it's faded away. And most of the people who had an enthusiasm for bowling have drifted into private clubs. And the public bowling is now practically extinct.
In the olden days, we had to work hard for to keep it going, you know. The ladies had to run the jumble sails and go round canvassing things round the houses, and we had it awful hard in the olden days.
Well, it's all changed altogether. A lot of young people taking it up, you know.
Used to be you couldn't get the young ones to come in. Now, if you're too old, you don't get in. And it used to be called the old man's game. Yeah.
Against the odds of planning and economics, East End families cling to the old bond. Like Colleen Dunbar, make a life of it.
This is actually the first one, my family. It's had a wedding like this. More or less it's been quiet weddings, you know. We've got to make a life for ourselves, to make a good life. I'm quite happy with that. I'm sure they can't stick with their mother the other days.
What? Not that nervous.
That's fine.
You nervous?
In a way, yes.
I think my mother's a bit nervous, you know.
Probably.
Francis! Baby! Square.
She's no intention of having a family. Well, Michael's unemployed because she said, there's no future in bringing a baby in when there's no money coming to keep it.
I'll get that. Just you shut your eyes, I'll cover your face.
Our parish church had actually closed down. So this was the first wedding in the family that's been at St Michael's Church. So everything's worked out well for her.
After the match at Parkhead, Frank Kirk will stay on in the East End. Once a successful salesman, he lives unemployed in a new town in East Kilbride, but he comes back to Bridgeton most days to find a social life. The Rover returning to a pub on the edge of Glasgow Green.
You've drank in the pub for, what, 16, 17 years. It's no easy to move away, and I'll always have strong ties here. You know, there's good people everywhere, but I've been brought up in this area. Nothing against the people of East Kilbride, but, you know, it's not the same atmosphere as down here. All my friends are down here.
Frank lives 9 miles away. Others travel much further. To Jerry and Jack, the Bowlers is their Scottish local. They and their families now live in Canada.
You never thought it was great. It was just to have knocked it down. That's when you realise the difference. It wasn't. You never thought it was anything special. You just lived here.
I would prefer to live in Canada now, only because my family are settled there now. Even I've been home here 3 times in the last 11 months, and this is the pub I come back to again.
I think the population of Mission used to be something like 78,000. And I think the eventual aim was to have it round about 6,000 people or something like that.
It's happened, eh? Like we were back in January, like when I was born.
They tell me.
Where is it?
Oh, they're building an Asda there. Bridgeton Main Street used to have one of the best shopping centres there was. Everything. You know, you could start off a haircut on a Saturday morning, finish up a pudding supper on a Saturday night, sort of thing, you know, and do your messages in between, you know. I'm very biased about here. I would come back here tomorrow, but my wife, and I don't know if I would like my kids to be brought up that again. That's a funny thing about it. I'm talking about from a selfish point of view.
If I was bringing my kids back, it would need to be within the next couple of years, because after that it would be too late for them. They'd find it really difficult here. I've got an 11-year-old son. As soon as he's 16, I'll bring him back for a holiday.
What would you say to him if he wanted to stay?
Bye.
Now, for children of God and members of the Catholic Church, marriage is more than a human contract. Remember what St. Paul told the Ephesians: the union of husband and wife is only to be compared to the union that exists between Christ and his church. Michael, do you freely and willingly take Colleen here present for your lawful wife, according to the laws of God and Holy Mother of the Church?
I do.
Colleen, do you freely and willingly take Michael here present for your lawful husband?
I do.
Now that you're joined in holy matrimony, join your right hands. And say, I, Colleen Dunbar,
I, Colleen Dunbar,
take you, Michael Maxwell,
take you, Michael Maxwell,
for my lawful husband,
for my lawful husband,
to have and to hold, from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, until death do us part.
till death do us part.
With this ring,
Kiss ring.
I wed you.
I wed you.
In the name of the Father.
In the name of the Father.
And of the Son.
And of the Son.
And of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
We will unite in love the couple he has joined in holy matrimony. Father, by your power you have made everything out of nothing. In the beginning you created the universe and made mankind to your own likeness. You gave man the help of woman, so that man and woman should no longer be two but one flesh. Look with love upon this woman, your daughter. Calling, she asks your blessing. Give her grace, give her love, give her peace.
The tribal rituals of East End Glasgow make it an odd place, superficially like an Ulster city. The preoccupations of the tribe distort more common urban pressures. The story is told of a Celtic supporter falling out with a Pakistani bus driver one Saturday night and calling him an orange bastard. On the one hand, the living raw material for Billy Connolly. On the other, the serious questions of Ireland.
The second resolution tonight, ladies and gentlemen, will be moved by Right Worshipful tonight, Reverend Victor Ryan, Grand Master of the City of Belfast, Grand Chapter. Provincial Grand Master, Sovereign Grand Master, distinguished Sir Knights and friends all, we on the other side of that channel which joins us together, we have known a coming together of the Sir Knights of Ulster with the Sir Knights of Scotland. And we are proud to be in that happy fellowship. And we know that with your love and loyalty to us, Ulster is still not for sale, and Ulster will come out on top, for the right will always win. That is not preacher's language. It is the language of every right-thinking person who calls himself or herself by the name of Protestant. Through the words of your second resolution, we within the Protestant faith, I call us to new life in Jesus Christ. Thank you very much tonight, Ryan. Will all those in favour of the resolution please say aye? Aye. There will be no noes accepted. We now call upon tonight Thomas Orr, Right Worthy Grand Master for Grand Orange Lodge of Scotland, to move the third and final resolution.
Right Worshipful Sir Knight Chairman, Most Worshipful Imperial Sovereign Grand Master, Sir Knights, brethren and friends, do you realise that the majority of councillors in Glasgow District Council are in fact Roman Catholics? Are you aware that since most of these people have been elected, most of the officials who run the city have now also become Roman Catholics? Now I think that should tell you and I something. It tells you this, that once these people get into positions of power, then it's obvious what they intend to do. They intend to run this country. But sisters, brothers and friends, someone has got to stand for the Protestant faith. There are two institutions, the Royal Black Institution and the Royal Orange Institution. These are the only two institutions who can make a stand against the encroachment of the Church of Rome.
self-infuriating.
So am I.
The selling shoes.
Wait a minute, I stripped on my velvet.
Love is all as long as
For the great awards, thank you.
I was quite pleased for Colin, really, because they're a nice couple. He's a nice boy. You know, having brought up in the East End. If Michael gets a job, maybe things will be different then. You know, to start off married life, you know, and no work, and how they're going to cope with unemployment money. And this was a bit of a worry because I know it's kind of hard for everybody. That many unemployed. A lot of people's finding it hard, trying to build up at home with unemployment money.